Hey everybody, it's Jason. Welcome back to Zombicide Invader, the civilian Kickstarter Part 3. So I'm just going to start hopping right into this. Hopefully if you're watching Part 3, you've checked out Parts 1 or 2 where we went over all the rest of the characters from the expansion. If you didn't, check out Part 1 where we went over all the different Xenos and abominations. Check out Part 2 where we went over the first 20 or so survivors, and then now we're going to go through the last 20. So here we have Norton. I'm not going to reread any abilities I read in Part 2 with the first bunch of survivors. So if it's a new ability, I will read it. If it's not, then hopefully you've checked out Part 1 so you know what that ability does. Alright, so we have Norton here, who is, and like the first one, I'm trying to kind of point out who these guys are based off of, if I know. I don't know who Norton is based off of. His full name is Norton Luckless, but he's kind of like a dwarf, so I wonder if he's just based off, like maybe just like fantasy characters. Maybe they had something like that. They're just thinking like, hey, there's, maybe a military dwarf. I'm not for sure. But there we go. So we have Norton here. He starts with Tough, which lets him avoid the first bunch of damage. In Orange, he has +1 free machine action. Makes sense. And then he has Auto Repair, which we have not seen before. During each end phase, restore the survivor's armor to its base level. So not only does this guy ignore the first damage, you can also get Auto Repair so he can heal back up to 3 every single turn. So he can essentially take 3 hits every single round if you get that without dying. So that's actually pretty cool. Unless you want to control machines, you can do that instead. Once you hit red, he has 1 free combat action, +1 die roll to combat or remote control all. So again, do you want him to have some good combat abilities, or do you want him to just be able to control the machines? I like the versatility in there, which is also good, just to get some different options in there for those guys. Alright, we are going to jump into a soldier. So we have this soldier who doesn't have an armor, but boy does she have a big gun. This is a Carlotta. And if I can find her on here. Carlotta Mendez. So this is supposed to be Vasquez from the Aliens movie. If you've seen Aliens, it definitely gets the good resemble. Big, badass woman who's running around with all the jock army men, essentially, carrying a BFG, of course. I like this also because it's like, lots of the other soldiers are all guys with big giant suits of armor, and then she's just running around in a tank top. So she has escalation ranged. So escalation, every time you perform the same action, as long as you keep doing the same one without interrupting to a different type. So as long as she does ranged over and over, she'll gain 1 extra die each time. So it's essentially like firing more and more concentrated fire. You fire off one set of rounds, you do pretty good. You fire off the second one, still aim at the same spot, you'll do more damage. Then she has, in her orange, she has 1 free ranged action and taunt. So that free ranged action works really great with your escalation, because then now you can perform an additional one, which gets additional bonuses. But taunt is also great because you can pull Xenos towards you or away from other guys. Might even help get them around a corner so you can shoot them quicker without having to move or wait an extra turn. And then in her red, +1 die roll for ranged, remote control sentry gun, or roll 6 +1 die. So the sentry gun makes a lot of sense because it's going to let her do extra range from somewhere else. Or they get extra die roll to your range, which makes them even stronger. And then roll 6 means if you roll a 6 at any time, you get to roll an extra die. So again, this works really well with that escalation. Because you're already rolling 1 extra die every time you do an additional ranged attack. So you have more chances to roll them 6s. Definitely a really cool ranged character. I mean, there's some good melee characters. It's nice to see some good ranged characters as well. Alright. Well, as we're looking at badass women, let's take a look at Mercedes. So here's Mercedes here. Mercedes is Mercedes Polymers. So someone assumes that she was, or whoever wrote this list up, was Leticia Rodriguez from the movie Domino, who is played by the actress Monique. She might be able to get the reference on the looks if you know what she looks like, or maybe from the movie. Big, looks like a big sassy woman. Like, right, she's not going to take anyone's crap. So she starts with remote control bot. So that's kind of neat. She start off with a bot right away. In her orange, she has 1 free ranged action or charge. Charge will let her move into a extra space into a space of Xenos. So again, not taking crap. She's going to get in there and do her job. And then her red, she has 1 free melee action, plus 1 die roll for range. So depending on kind of which direction you wanted to go with that. Again, melee or range. And then finally, we have BIA Auto Repair. That is super incredibly powerful. So BIA is Brothers in Arms, which basically means this. As long as she's in the same zone as any other survivor, her and any survivor in that zone can use the Brother in Arms abilities. So if you have multiple survivors that have these, they can share them. Now the downside is, that means they can't use that ability if they're by themselves. So that's kind of the up and down side of it. But having that auto repair for everyone in the group, basically they can all just hang out together. And at the end of their turn, they all gain full armor or health again. That's crazy. And like I said with Cloud in the first one, there are some characters in this, with the expansions here, or the Kickstarters, they're almost broken. And that is definitely an ability that'll kind of lean towards that. But that's fine. That makes the game super fun to have broken characters. Alright, let's take a look at some armored characters. We haven't seen a lot of those, so let's get some more of those guys in here. We have this guy here. So this is actually an alien character who is armored. So this is Inshishvak. So I guess this is probably not based on anything. Most of the aliens usually aren't. But he's definitely cool. He's got like a orange thing. He's got like a thing over his eyes. I'm not sure if that's just like armor, or if that's something like he has like a cyborg type armor. Plus there's this like oxygen tank type thing built into him. Definitely cool looking character. So it's +1 die for combat. So all his combat, he automatically starts with an advantage of extra die. In his orange, he has 1 free combat action or hit and run. Hit and run, of course, meaning that if he defeats at least 1 Xeno in an area, in a zone he's in, he can go a free movement action out of there. Or if it's the last one, he can go a free movement action to the next spot. And then in red, 1 free combat action, Reaper, ranged, and 0G run. 0G run also lets him move. He can use it to move an additional space, avoiding anybody in that space. So he can run through guys, basically. So that could be very helpful with hit and run, because he could run through guys, and then he could hit the next group of guys and keep moving. He could get some decent action out here. And then Reaper range means whenever he kills a Xeno of a specific type with a range, he gets to eliminate an additional. So every time he just defeats a worker, he just defeats an additional worker per action. So if he defeats 4 workers, he only just eliminated 1 extra, not 4 extra. yes, that's definitely a interesting character. Starts off with a lot of extra stuff, and then you kind of get some movement towards the end. Um, Definitely neat. Let's look at another armored character. We have Lieutenant Graham, who looks like he's from Britain, based on his flag. Does he have headphones on? Alright, Lieutenant Graham. Let me see if I can find his... Graham Hardbanks. So you have him based off of, at least this list I have, Jean Rascal from Starship Troopers. I have not seen Starship Troopers in a long time, so I don't know if that is accurate or not. That's kind of a neat backpack. It's kind of like a goat head almost. I could definitely see something being based off Starship Troopers. Yes, there could be. Alright, so as a soldier, he has Sniper to start out with, which we didn't go over Sniper, except for in the base set, so let's read that one again. It may freely choose targets if their ranged attacks, friendly fire is ignored. So that's actually very helpful for range, especially right off the bat. He has, in orange, +1 die roll for combat and remote control drone. And then he has 1 free combat action, 1 free move action, and ambidextrous. So he gets to either move or combat, or he can ambidextrous shoots all weapons that have the dual symbol. Remote control lets you control robots from a distance. I'm trying to figure out why it says drone, because there are no drones in the... Oh, I remember this. So this is kind of interesting. The drone, I don't have access to the cards right now, but the drone is the card that lets soldiers search any area. So that's actually kind of fun. So he can put this robot out that lets him search extra areas, and he can use it manually a little bit. That's actually kind of neat. I didn't even realize that. I thought maybe they just mistyped what it was supposed to be, but that's what he does. He can search any area with this drone for a free action. That's kind of cool. So you can kind of stay at a distance. Definitely interesting build. I like Sniper right off the bat. That's really fun to have. I also like that his helmet is here on the side, so he does have his helmet with him. He's just not wearing it. Alright, let's hop into our next survivor. We got this dude, which looks really cool. So someone specified this guy probably looks like one of the aliens from the movie District 9. Although I haven't seen that in a while either. That could be accurate. I'm not for sure. He looks like a giant grasshopper to me. But that's alright. I like various aliens. I would zoom up on him a little bit. Alright. And maybe his name has something to do with it, because it's Xnixzix, or probably 9 is the first one. It's Roman numeral 9 there, which might be the reference. Alright, so he starts with 1 free search action, so he gets to search around a little bit more, which kind of maybe fits that character. In orange, 1 free move action or remote control all. So there we go. So he's going to be a good support character. And then in red, he has 1 free machine action +1 die roll for ranged or enhanced senses. Which enhanced senses just let him trace line of sight further into zones, so he can see farther into rooms, so he can shoot farther or ignore the dark. So this guy kind of hangs back and helps gather stuff for everybody. Good support character. Follows up with some good ranged attacks, or use the robots to your advantage. Yeah, definitely cool. As long as we're looking at aliens, whoopsies. Let's look at one other alien here. So here we have Ukuk. Ukuk Subboda. So someone mentioned this would be the librarian from Discworld. I have never seen Discworld, so again, that could be super accurate, and I wouldn't have any idea. I'm going to have to do a video sometime with all these different Zombicide games, all these homages. We'll have to put pictures up and just show them off, match them that way, but not like going through all their stats and stuff. That might be something fun to do, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, because it would take me a little bit of work to find. Alright, so he starts with ambidextrous, so he can use any weapon as dual wielding. In his org, he has +1 die for combat or 1 free move action. And then his reg, 1 free combat action, super strength, and tough. So he gets kind of interesting at the end. So either he can avoid 1 damage essentially, or he can make all his attacks do 3 damage. Yeah, he's just, again, one of these all-around characters. Dual wielding stuff. Do you want him to have combat or move? Do you want him to have extra combat damage, extra combat actions, or survival or damage? Definitely an interesting, cool designed character. Alright. Alright, so up next we have Madame Singleton, or Madame Tonya Singleton, who's supposed to be an entity from Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. I mean, she definitely has a very Thunderdome-esque look to her. I like the coat, like big trench coat's kind of cool. Big pistol sticking out there looks definitely more cowboy than spacey. Alright, so what she have for her? She has, zoom over just a bit more there. Alright, 1 free search action, which is always definitely helpful to have. When she gets to her orange, she has the 1 free move action and the taunt. And then in orange, she has 1 free combat action, hit and run, and remote control bot. So she can only control the 1 bot, not the sentry gun. And then hit and run will let her, of course, if she defeats Xeno in battle, she can then move again. Which hit and run works very well with taunt, because you can taunt guys towards you, and then you can, choose which one you're going to bring towards you, and maybe lure 1 or 2 guys out that you can handle, and then reposition yourself. It also could work well if the bot is in the same idea. You could taunt to kind of bring 1 or 2 guys out to where the bot can get to them quicker. Or if you don't want to use either of them, she still has the free movement and free combat action, which all of them kind of help with the search as well. Let you get stuff going. Alright, cool. That is hers. Let's hop into our next character. Our next survivor here is we have Emma. Cool cyborg. She has like the open skull. Definitely sci-fi. Zoom up on the character a little bit here. And then they think that her name is Emma Vogel. They think it's supposed to be Ava from Ex Machina, or possibly Major from Ghost in a Shell. Which you kind of get both vibes from that, just sort of being a woman cyborg with kind of like the more exposed brain. So it could be kind of taken maybe from both of those. She's also a soldier as well. She has tough, which means she can take 1 free hit. In orange, she gets 1 free move or 1 free ranged action. And then when she hits red, 1 die for combat, 1 free melee action, or auto repair. Auto repair is always fun because it puts them back up to full health. So it's tough and auto repair. Essentially gives her 4 health almost every turn. Because you can definitely take 3 hits before you would die. Before you get down to 1 health. So you can take 4 hits before you die, but you can take 3 hits every turn and then repair. But yeah, solid character. Nothing like overly pushing you one direction or the other, because clearly you get either 1 free melee or 1 free range, so however you want to use it, or moving around, or just 1 extra die for combat. So it's really just that survival aspect, and then everything else is kind of extra. Alright, up next we have this little lady. We have Allison. And Allison is Allison Cardinal. I don't have anything listed for her. But she's kind of just got like that, sort of like cyberpunk type aspect, I guess, look to her. She has the little dog in her backpack. I saw that, and my first initial thought was, I wonder if she's trying to be like Luke, and that's like maybe her little Yoda. They're sticking out of her backpack. That's kind of funny. Alright, but she has 1 free machine action. So that's actually cool. So that's an interesting thing to start with. Almost, I think everyone else has had a free machine action. They've had it late in the game. Usually after they have at least 1 remote control. So hers is electric. If she can get next to a machine, she can, I guess, kind of hack it, you could say, and then gets an extra free machine action out of it. So she might not have the best ability right off the bat, depending on where you are in correlation to one of the machines. But in her orange, then she gets remote control all, so that'll work really well when she hits the orange, because then she can do it from a distance. Or she has 1 free move action, and then in red, 1 free combat action, plus 1 die roll for melee or point blank. And point blank again lets you use all your ranged weapons in the same space as you, same as a melee weapon. You can choose your targets. So that's kind of her thing. She's going to control robots, use that around, and then option on how you either want to like get right up and close and do some melee actions, or if you want to keep using your ranged guns, but then you can use them right up next if guys get close to you. So very, very interesting character. I like the idea of being able to have someone that's almost robot focused right off the bat, which is really fun. Alright, let's get some armored guys in here. This guy's definitely big and beefy. So we have Commander Amandi. Amandi Sentai. I don't have anything special for him either. He's just a big bruiser here, with his big old battle axe. I think one of the few guys we've seen with a weapon that's not just like batons. But yeah, I don't know if he's from anything specific per se. But he has shove, so he can kind of push guys around right off the back. In his orange, he gets 1 die for combat, hit and run, and then in red, 1 free combat action, plus 1 die roll for combat or bloodlust melee. And bloodlust again lets you move into up to 2 spaces in performing attack action of this specified type. She gets an extra melee. But yeah, so I mean, in one sense, it's kind of the same as a free combat action, but the difference is he gets to move, but he has to move into an area of Xenos. Or free combat action will let you do ranged as well. Or won't force you to move if you have something different. A little bit more versatile in that sense. But yeah, no, just solid, big soldier type. Cool. Wish I had something to do with those grenades there. Alright, Then to follow him up, we're going to go with another big armored character. And this is Rhea Tank Girl. She's got a giant wrench. Plus a bunch of other little gizmos and stuff all over. And I think initially you see Tank Girl, you'd probably think of the movie Tank Girl. Might be a reference to that. But they have her mentioned as being Ellie from Borderlands 2. And I've not played Borderlands 2 enough to know who Ellie is specifically. So, I'm not... That could be a very good accurate description. I'm not for sure. But, like our other big guy here, which is why I wonder if maybe they go together, she also has Shove. But you know, she's a civilian. She's not an armored character, soldier. Then in orange, she has one free remote control action or remote control all. So I think that's the first time we've seen free remote control action. And then she has remote control all, so she can control anything with that, but she has suspending action. One free... Free machine actions still require a control of a machine either through a skill or a remote control. Yeah, just trying to see how that worked for that. So with remote control, survivor may perform machine actions with machines of the indicated type. So it's either she gets, so remote control all means she can control anything, or she has +1 free remote control action. So, I don't know, it seems like her ability, like her first one, that +1 free, is only gonna matter if she picks up the second one, so you only work on her second way around. At least that's how I'm reading. I could be misunderstanding that. And then red, she has +1 damage for ranged actions, +1 free combat action, and 0G run, which lets her run through stuff. It's kind of funny to speak. She's such a large character that she can just run through people as she needs to. Alright, so those are the 4 or 5 different characters. Now we're going to get into a lot more characters with references. Maybe a little bit more iconic references for people. So let's head into them, guys. These guys should be fun to go through. We're going to start with this one. So if you kind of look at him already, he maybe looks a little bit familiar. This is Dr. Dick. Or more specifically, Dr. Dick Morton. Who, if you can't tell, is supposed to be Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. Yes, he's definitely got with like the hair, the lab coat, holding an alcohol bottle. I mean, you know, it's about as close as you can get without literally just recreating him as a non, but like more, regular human. But he has some fun abilities here. So he starts off with Brothers in Arm Tough. So that means everyone who's with him gains tough. So that means he's great to hang around with. Then he has in his orange, he has one free move action or Unstoppable. Unstoppable means he can move out of the area of other Xenos without having to pay extra actions. In his red, one free combat action, Brothers in Arm, +1 damage for combat, or he has Lucky, which lets him reroll his dice. So that's actually crazy. He has 2 Brothers in Arms abilities, so if you keep him around, not only can characters survive a free hit, they could potentially have +1 damage for combat, which should be very helpful. And with that free move action or Unstoppable, he could get back into getting near everybody as quick as he needs to. Again, the downside of Brothers of Arms is that if he's not with somebody, his abilities go away. So basically, he's not around to help protect people. or give them extra help for damage, then he doesn't get access to it either. So that's fine. I'm going to slide him over to the side here for a sec, because, of course, what would Rick be without Commander Morton? Or as the games calls him, Justin Morton, probably for Justin Rowland, who's the voice actor. It's just supposed to be Morty Smith from Rick and Morty, of course. He's also got the eye patch, which makes him like evil Morty. But yeah, again, it's like, this is basically like if they drew these two characters as more realistic versions, this is kind of what they would look like. So they're a fun little addition to the game. I liked it how Rick's character is a civilian and Morty's is a soldier, so it's kind of an interesting thing. He also has boring leader, so that means he can boss people around, which is why I think I think people believe he's more based on the evil Morty versus a regular timid one. But yeah, you can give an action to another character, which can be very helpful. Then he has 1 free combat action or +1 die roll to ranged. And then in his reg, 1 free combat action, or Brothers in Arms, 1 free move action, or Brothers in Arm, 1 free ranged action. So yeah, you put these guys together with them multiple Brothers in Arms, they could definitely be a force to be reckoned with, plus Morton here, Commander Morton, giving out extra ability or extra actions every turn. It could really be super helpful with them, because they could use that to also get them extra free moves or ranges to somebody else, so they can do extra damage. So definitely a fun pair of characters. I think those are like 2 of the ones that keep getting reprinted a bunch. So then up next, just as a contrast, we have Dr. What. So Dr. What, of course, is supposed to be a version of Doc Brown from Back to the Future. But then his name also kind of implies that he is Doctor Who. Of course, makes sense as well. So I like that they think, I think they've done they've done Doc Brown in other sets as well. So I like that they kind of decided to combine him. His name is also, his full name is Silas What, instead of just Doctor. But yeah, of course, Doc Brown there. And he's got this cool robotic suit with like tentacle arms, which I love. It's kind of neat. He's got hammer coming off there. He's got coffee. And he's got his wrench and everything. Zoom up on him a little bit more. Alright, so Dr. What has a remote control sentry gun. So that's cool. Right off the bat, he can control a sentry gun from wherever it is. And especially the one in this set, that could be very powerful. In his orange, 1 free melee action or remote control bot. So then now he can control both of them. And then in his red, +1 action, enhanced senses, and Xenolink. So Xenolink lets him, if they, anytime they draw an extra activation card, he gets to activate as well. And then enhanced senses lets him trace 1 zone farther into other rooms and ignore the dark zones. So basically lets him, aim or do whatever he needs to do. I like the bottom one, +1 action. You do not see that very much, because now it's actually the only card so far in this entire campaign that has that. Everything else is always +1 free move, or free this, or free that. But he just gets a straight up additional action to do whatever he wants. So that can be very powerful depending on how you need to use it. And then much like the Rick and Morty set, what would our Doc Brown type character be without our Marty McFly version? Which is also funny because they call him Morty McAllister. Instead of, because of course Morty from Rick and Morty is based off of these 2 guys. And then the McAllister part, I love this reference because that is, of course, Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. So it's a combination of Marty McFly and that. And you can see in the artwork some of the references to that because he has the tape, the Walkman, the Talk Boy from Home Alone. So that's actually really fun. We kind of zoom up on him a little bit more. If we flip him around, he's got, looks like a flamethrower with him. Plus a backpack full of goodies. And he's got his binoculars on. Such a fun reference as well. So he starts with 0G run, which lets him get by anybody. Lets him just make a free movement through guys for two spaces. In his orange, 1 free ranged action and lucky, so some reroll dice. And in his red, he has remote control bot. Roll 6 plus 1 die for combat and sprint. So of course the roll 6 means anytime he rolls a 6, he gets to add plus 1 die for that combat and roll another one. And sprint lets you move 2 or 3 spaces instead of 1. So 0G run, he can spend 1 action to move 2 zones, ignoring everything in the zone, and moving through. And then with sprint, says he can spend 1 action and move 2 or 3 zones instead. So he can either move 3, so if he had both of them, he can move through guys for 2 spaces, or he can move 3 spaces. So he can get around quite a lot. So that's actually pretty cool. That's kind of his thing, is dodge around and do different stuff like that. So neat set of characters there. Alright, let's jump into our next one. Alright, move them. We have this guy. So if you can kind of see him, you can already guess who he's supposed to be. This is Dr. Falconeer. Which is, of course, a reference to famed physicist Dr. Stephen Hawking. Hawking, Falconeer, very similar thing. But he gets to drive a giant mech wheelchair, which is a really cool way to incorporate a wheelchair into like a sci-fi game. They've had a couple other characters in Zombicide that have been in wheelchairs, and they're always trying to do something a little bit different with them. So this is definitely a neat one. So he starts with remote control all. That is actually pretty powerful. You can just do whatever he needs right off the back. Then in his orange, 1 free machine action or brother in arms enhanced senses. Extra machine action as well as he can already control them. The brothers in arms give everyone else extra sight. So if he's already sitting back doing range attacks or whatever, he can help everyone else, help protect better. And then once he gets in his red, he gets 1 extra free machine action, 1 free move action, or boring leader, which should be a very interesting way to do it. Hey, if your machines are already kicking ass, give them an extra action. If you need to escape, or you're trying to catch up to your team, so your brother in arms works or whatever, use your free move action. But boring leader could be interesting. It's very it's different that it's at the bottom, like in the red. Lots of the times it usually appears up higher so you can use it more often earlier in the game. But even at the end of the game, having the ability to tell somebody else to go again, like, hey, we're trying to get out of here, hey, I need you to move, like, get 1 extra free move action so they can get to the exit quicker. It could just be that last thing that saves you at the very end of the game. It's very possible. Alright, so that is that. Alright, let's jump to our next one. Alright, up next, this character probably looks very familiar to lots of people. This is Lara. I guess probably pronounced Lara. But this is, I'm trying to see if I had her full name on here at all. Lara Hansen. So this is obviously supposed to be Lilu from the Fifth Element. She's holding up her badge, which is like when she says multipass. Of course, actress is Amelia Jovovich. But yeah, so you kind of get the idea of like her costume where she had the bandages on. if I know the movies, I have more information about these characters, as you're clearly seeing. But straps hanging down are really neat. Yeah, that's definitely cool. So does she have some of the abilities? Let's see. She has +1 die roll for combat. So all her attacks right off the bat are going to be a little bit stronger. In her orange, 1 free combat action or 0G run. In red, +1 die for combat, enhanced senses, or remote control all. So it gives you some good options towards the end. Either boost your combat up a little bit more, enhance senses to see, or get them robots. I like that all her abilities are based on combat, so if you want her to be a ranged character, she can be ranged. If you want her to be melee, she can be melee. So that's definitely a fun build for a character. And then to kind of pair with her, so we'll just slide her off to the side, we have Gold Coast Gary, who also from the Fifth Element is based off of Ruby Rhodes, who is Chris Tucker's character, who's like the very loud and eccentric entertainment star. I should say YouTube type star. I guess that's basically what he was. So that makes me, it's kind of like, they don't have the Bruce Willis, Corbin Dallas type character specifically in here. But he could have appeared in like a different set, or maybe they used a Bruce Willis model in the original Zombicide game, so maybe they're trying not to like redo the same actor multiple times if they can avoid it. See how many movies has some of these people been in. Alright, so Gold Coast Gary here. Gary Gardner specifically. He has Lucky right off the bat, so you can reroll dice, which could be very good to start out with. In orange, roll 6 +1 die to combat and taunt. And then in red, 1 free move action, +1 die roll for combat or hit and run. So not really a straightforward strategy with this character. The Lucky can really support some of the other stuff like taunt and hit and run, using taunt to bring guys towards you, and then using hit and run to hopefully keep moving through them. But also having Lucky just in case you roll bad could be very helpful. Alright, we got 2 characters left to go, 2 more survivors, and then we are done with this box. So we're going to start with another very iconic looking character. This is Katie Benedict, or Kara Starbuck Thrace from Battlestar Galactica, the 2003 edition, played by Katie Sackhoff. So she looks almost identical to her Battlestar Galactica outfit. Tank top, medal. But again, that's a very sci-fi show. They're in space. They're fighting the Toasters, of course. Cylons. So she's a soldier, even though she doesn't look it. She have the big armor like the other guys. But she has taunt to begin with. So yeah, just bring it on. It'd be fun to maybe team her up with, what was her name now? I'm gonna go find her card. Team her and Carly up. The tank-topped women that take no crap. Definitely make a team of just powerful women in here as well. And then make another team of big tank army guys. So she gets 1 free move action and combat reflexes in her orange. Combat reflexes, again, we haven't seen that one for a while. Says whenever Xenos spawns within their line of sight, survivor may immediately perform a free combat action against them. Yeah, so that's helpful. So if she's trying to ranged or melee, she can take out guys as soon as they spawn. And then in red, +1 die for combat, 1 free combat action, or 1 free machine action. So it gives her a good spread of different things she can do, all being combat stuff, so she can taunt to bring guys near, move where she needs to, or take out guys as she sees them. And then, yeah, she can use the guy. The taunt could actually be a very interesting thing combined with combat reflexes. Because if you're doing give her some good ranged weapons, she could stand somewhere within a spawn point. And then as soon as they spawn, she could start taking them out on their turn. And then if there's anything left, she could taunt and try and bring them closer, so then that way she can maybe take them out at a little bit distance or a closer distance. And then when the next one spawn, then you're not spawning 5, 6 all in the same spot or whatever. You're going to spawn how many are left, and then, they'll move out of that space so they're not all moving in one giant group. So that could be a very interesting combination. Alright, and for our last survivor for the civilian pack. Kickstarter goals, we saved the best for last. We have Richard Kindred. This is, of course, Deckard King from Blade Runner, our boy Harrison Ford. I had to save him for last just because, definitely a cool character. We don't have a Han Solo. I almost like the fact they didn't, being the sci-fi set, is they didn't directly parody or do homages, I guess, to a bunch of Star Wars and Star Trek characters. I'd rather have other sci-fi. Definitely cool. I mean, if they do some like in a later set, that's fine. But those are almost somewhat more fantasy sci-fi versus just straight sci-fi. But yeah, he's got this definitely big, awesome long trench coat. He's got the shoulder pauldrons, the tie. It's very iconic. So what does Richard Kindred start with? He has point blank, which means he can use all ranged weapons up as melee. To start off with, that is pretty incredible. Because ranged weapons tend to be a little bit better. Sometimes with damage and stuff or better accuracy, or they're sometimes a little bit better than melee, just because they can't choose their targets. So this kind of nullifies that. In orange, +1 die roll for range or hit and run. Again, hit and run can be used at range, but he can also use it right up close. Eliminate someone, he gets to move again. So yeah, either use it to get into a group of enemies, take them out, and then move away, or finish off the last one and move in there. But he also adding that in with ranged abilities. He can shoot them at range and then take them out as well. And his red, he has 1 free ranged action, Brother in Arm, 1 free combat action, or Sniper. Yeah, so he definitely wants to try and stay ranged. Giving everybody else 1 free combat action means if he sits around with someone else back, they can do a lot of long distance firing. And then they can also do, if you have Sniper on, he can shoot into a crowd so he can help his team out. That way he doesn't accidentally shoot any of them. So that's actually kind of a fun thing. He could be also kind of interested in play. We just saw Kate there. Just stated because they both kind of like to use that free combat range. Could be very helpful. Alright, so that is what we have for Zombicide Invader Civilian Pack, all the Kickstarter stretch goals. Yeah, 3 fairly long videos. But if you're interested in picking up this pack and you got the Invaders game and you're wondering if it's worth picking up this set, now you can see. Getting a bunch of new survivors is always fun. You might be like, what do I need 30, 40 survivors for? You don't, but it gives you options at least. So if you want to play different styles and different stuff like that, some characters are more overpowered, some kind of have a little bit better themes and maybe work better as a team. But to give you some different options. Plus all the different new abominations and the 3 new xenotypes definitely make for some fun, interesting interactions. Now they don't come with any extra rule content or extra boards or anything like that. But I think it's all, if you really enjoy the Invader Zombicide, you will be willing to probably pick up this extra stuff for the additional characters and abomination. Even the abominations, just having a different abomination in there. Take out the spore one. Not even playing with that spore rule. could definitely just change up how the game works. Like maybe just have the hunter one who can like take out melee. That could change entirely how you deal with part of a mission or something like that. Alright, so we will see you in other videos for the expansions and other things like that. See you guys later. Bye.